Hello, I'm Milton Chang of Bonsai Heirloom. So today I will go over 5 Japanese maples. I'm actually not going to do much about these 2, but rather work on the 3 new ones. But I want to give you a little bit of history of these trees so that when I do the quarterly update of a group of maple trees of 5, you can see all the way progression of what happens to the old trees, middle-aged trees, and younger trees. I want to remind you to like my video because I need a little encouragement. And please subscribe to our website and so that we can send you notices for new posting. And so there will be a lot of good material to share. So with that in mind then, I will show you 5 maple trees. And first I want to say, there are 2 kinds of maple trees categorically. One is with a big leaf. For example, if you go to Kyoto, where the beautiful fall foliage, that's called Osakazuki variety. And that one, the leaves is very big, but it's beautiful in the fall. They can be turned into bonsai. The leaf size will reduce, but not that small. These are more the smaller middle-sized leaf maples. And they're mostly used for grafting. So when you buy a tree, it died off, the top died off, the bottom is actually good bonsai material. And then there are the dwarf material. So you want to select large leaf, small leaf, red, green, and dwarf. The dwarf ones is really very desirable because the leaves are even smaller than these, and they kind of naturally form a nice bonsai shape. This tree I was able to get at an auction for a modest amount of money because the tree was dying. I got it maybe 6 months ago. And this part was only about this much, almost nothing here. But I took very good care of this part so that it will shoot out. And then I make this part totally renew. So you can see this can become a phenomenal old cascade tree. Look at all the old scars. And this tree will have a apex here and then cascade down. And then this would probably have an apex here and grow out. So I will follow this tree every 3 months or 6 months so you will see the progress and know what to expect with your own tree. This one I only bought recently. Actually was bought from a friend who's quitting because he's getting too old in my club. And I actually separated these two branches with a rock because it was too close. It was like this. So you can do all kinds of things just to get it to the shape you like. It's okay, but I prefer it to be a little bit out. And you can see the leaves are starting to come out. I did drastic pruning, but you will see the leaves will fill out very quickly in a month's time. Then today I would turn these 2 trees into bonsai. These both are bought from Home Depot, and I believe these are under $100, like $65, $75 each. Now, after I cut off, you wonder what's going to happen. So I took this one to make into a shohin bonsai. And I cut it this is about a 2-year-old seedling. And I cut it, about November. And this is what it looks like today. There's nothing on it in November, but it came out very quickly. The purpose of doing this bonsai is to show you what happens to the cut that I make. And you can see it will fill out quickly to look like a shorter tree, fairly natural looking. So with that in mind then, I will take these 2 away and start working on these. As I said, I'm going to work on 3 maple trees and show you along with 2 more mature trees to show you the natural progression. And then I'll update these 5 maple trees as a group every 3 to 6 months to show you how a tree progresses from a young tree all the way to a mature tree and how mature trees are being modified to improve. So today then, I would turn this maple tree, which I got from Home Depot, and I'll just take it out of the pot. You can see this is pretty much a single trunk tree, and then it branches out to become a kind of a formal upright style. And so I will go through the process. When I cut this all off, it's going to be very bare. And you're beginning to wonder what it would look like or how the cut will heal. And so this tree was actually a 2-year seedling that I cut it in November, December. And look how much it's grown to fill it up. So I'll make that into a shohin bonsai. and at the same time show you the middle to see how the cut grows in terms of side branches to create a top. So with that in mind then, let's just work on this tree. Hopefully we can learn something from it. So first of all, I'll take this hook. Again, today I'll pretty much use the hook, maybe the saw, or even a reciprocal mechanical saw, a cutter, and this is the branch cutter, and just a normal cutter, and it can all happen very quickly. So when I look at that, as I always say, begin with the end in mind. So this is a tree that you bought. You say, I really want to turn into a bonsai about this size. And so you want to cut a little bit below that. And so you want to cut a little bit below that for these branches to send out shoots to fill out the space that you want. So begin with the end in mind. Nothing happens by accident. It wouldn't be very good if it's accidental. So with that in mind then, trading that off is that I would like to use as much of the existing branch off as possible because there is a natural taper. So I will probably cut it about here. I think it's good to cut this one off here. This is the tallest one. So this is going to be dominating this design. So I'll cut this one off right here. I should probably use a bigger cutter. Now this one, if I cut it here, these two sides will look too much equal. So that's not very artistic. So I'll cut one node below, which is here. So if it comes out, it will be more here to provide a little bit more of a spread, a balance. I want the branches to come out here, so I'll cut it here. It's not so clear that there are buds here, but they will come out, so not to worry. And the same thing here. This is a little too tall, so again, I probably cut it here because this possibly have a node. Not clear, but you can make adjustment later. And then this one, again, you don't want to be the same height. So you look for another node, probably here. And then this one, you want it to go that way, so you cut off the nodes, the bud this way. And I think it's a choice between, I think maybe this can be the central one because that's in the middle and could be a little bit taller, so I'll cut it off right here. I mean, I can cut it off here, but that would be a little bit lopsided, too high on one side. So that's essentially the tree that I will have. And when I do it, I'll probably put that in the middle and go a little bit higher. And it's quite possibly I will cut this branch off as well. But depending, depending what comes out to make that to a balance. Now the next thing we want to work on the root, that's really important. So let me comb out the soil first. So this is what I will use, the meat hook. And you can see these are just in regular garden soil. So it's fairly easy to remove. And I don't need to remove it very cleanly because, or extensively, because they can come off quite easily. So I want the roots to come out radially out, so I comb it radially out. So several things you will note. These are very nice rootage. You can imagine in a bonsai pot, this goes down and this comes out, but this is coming out a little bit too far. And yet you can see there are little roots here and here. So what you can do is you can cut it off right there so that this will thicken, this root will thicken to rhyme with the main trunk. And that gives you a very nice natural spread radial out of the roots. So I can, for example, just cut it this way and it's done. So you can see someday this will come out and then this root will take over just like a branch. Now these roots are a little bit too high up, and I don't think natural maple tree naturally grows that way. So you want to cut that off to simulate nature. When you see a tree you like it, that's because you have already learned from nature that's the way it should be. Always follow nature. It had trained you all these years naturally. So you can see this will heal over, but you can see this is all very nice. The problem begins here. you can see this tree is, this root and this root is really bad. It kind of like came out of nowhere. So don't be merciful, just cut it. Someone asked me that I don't pay much attention to protecting the cuts. In fact, I don't, because I like it to heal over naturally. But what I try to avoid doing is to leave marks that are obviously cut off, so it's like a circle or elliptical. So, but these two are really a problem. This root is infringing on that, so I'll definitely cut this off. And here, then it's easy to remove the rest of it. Let's see, this one is already growing into that, so if you like, you can keep this root to make it look like coming out of this root, even though it originally came from the other one, but it's fused. Now here's another one that's a little bit problematic. It kind of came over covering up this root, so I will cut that. So you see, there's no, and this one, of course, is bad, and I will cut that off. This will heal over, although I think that's a little bit too long, which doesn't look very natural, so I'll try to trim it a little bit. And this going back is not so good, but going in is good. Now this one also is too parallel to this, and I'll cut it here. Hopefully it will shoot out that way to make it look more radially out. So that basically is the tree. Just let it grow to see what happens. And I'll show you in 3 months what it looks like and then do the next step. This tree is a single trunk and becomes 3 trunk. This one, a single trunk, becomes double trunk. But you can begin to see there's some similarity. And when I put it in the pot in a few years from now, it'll be a similar design. I'm not particularly satisfied with this tree the way it is now. Now, actually, this is interesting. I think this root is nice. I was attracted to this root, but actually this is more interesting. It goes down. You can see that's like how a tree would grow. So I actually cut this root off as well. So as you look at it, you will gradually see opportunity for improvement. And I would say if this is kind of the tall part, I'll probably cut this one off here. So now you have trees with three branches with different heights. And so I think this will look fine. Now let me put it back in the pot so that it will grow more to show you what happens in 3 months. With that in mind, then I just put in the old pot, a growing nursery pot, and I try to break loose to make it less round. This is not a good practice, never to twist your cutter. So see what happens, that there's room to improve the cut later on. So with that, I put it back in the original growing pot and filled it with soil. I'll fill it out more with the garden soil afterwards. Well, this is the next tree I'll do after the bigger Japanese maple, to take this 2-year-old seedling that I cut off in November, December, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and that's how much you've grown back since. And the reason for doing that, aside from doing a bonsai of a different size, also want to show you what happens to the cut so that you know what to expect. First of all, again, looking at the roots in close-up, the roots are really quite nice, aside from this one, which is crossing into the other one. So I just cut it. And then these are all kind of going down. I'll probably scar it. Oh, this one I already cut, so it would root out here. And this one I probably cut here, and then this one I probably cut here, so that they will root out. You can do quite a bit of a damage to the tree without killing it, because this is springtime. It's growing very vigorously. So if you really look at it, not much is connected to the roots, because I'd rather have the roots looking right with a lot of shallow roots grow up on top rather than all in the bottom. But keep the bottom ones to support the tree in the meantime. Now, if you look at this tree, let's pay attention. You can see it's growing out radially like an umbrella, which is quite desirable. So I'll do a little bit of clipping. This is known as bar branch. They grow on the opposite side, which is not very attractive. And given there are some branches here, I'll cut this one off. So it'll look not so good after I'm done with it. It'll look a little bit bare, but it will soon grow back, and then you have the opportunity to reshape it. So the rest of it at this level is pretty good. Again, I'm not too worrying about getting it right the first time because I will have time to reshape it when the leaves comes out. And I try to thin it a little bit because invariably they would look cluttered. Now, what happened to the tree here, you see, this one comes out and it grows out. So if you like, you can cut it here. So it will branch out here, or you can cut it here to branch out here. But I think for the sake of having some foliage, I'll keep it up on, cut it up on top. And this one is pointing in. It's going to make the inside too crowded, so I cut that off. So now come to the important part, which is the middle, which is going to be the apex. What do you do? Well, you can see there's one branch going out, running into this one. So you probably don't need it. You cut that off. You see this one is running out this way, fine. And this one's running out, that's fine. So what you wanted to do, I'll probably, to remind myself, this is the apex, I'll cut the other ones a little bit short so I won't get confused and cut them off later. So this tree will eventually be the apex right here, growing up to about here. And you cut off this to make it more like the side branch supporting it. And then this one, side branch to support it. And I would say probably cut this off as well. So now in next 3 months, this one will grow to about this height. And you can go through the process again to keep in mind the tree always grows like a outline of a semicircle, because that's how the tree reacts to sunlight. And so this will eventually have the semicircle shape. This one at the bottom of the semicircle, and that's at the top, so it's like a dome. And that's how almost all deciduous looks like in maturity. So that's it, basically. That's your shohin. And if I get a pot to show you, if I put it in here now, it's a pretty nice shohin. But I won't do it because I want the tree to get thickened to maybe this size, about this tall. It'll be really magnificent. You don't need too much space. In a 1-gallon can, it would do very well. Enjoy. Well, that's it for now. But I will show you this tree in 3 months from now, recut it, and see what happens. I think you will really enjoy this tree in time. So this is the last maple tree I would make today into a bonsai. I already cut off the bottom with a chainsaw, with a reciprocal saw. And then I will now clean off the soil to see what the rootage looks like. You can see it's fairly difficult to comb out because it's going in every other direction. Since this is still a couple, 3 years out into a bonsai, we can be pretty rough with it, and it will heal and make it look more natural, like in a while. So for example, if you look at it, you can see this is a nice front. In a sense, you can see a nice trunk. People are always looking for the white base. No, but I'm having a hard time combing it out. So no point fighting it. I will see as much as where the roots are and try to use the chainsaw, the reciprocal saw, to help me make it easier to remove the soil. You can see this is the main root. I don't want to mess it up. But then this is starting to look like infringing on the next one. And this one is crossing over. So I basically would take the saw to cut it open. Yeah, you can see the bottom is all intertwined. And frankly, this is going to be the top of the bonsai pot. I don't think I ever go below that, and there's plenty fibrous roots here. So in fact, just for the heck of it, just to make my point, I would cut off all the bottom of this, and then I have a very shallow bonsai to start with. And then whatever comes out of that will be nice spread out roots instead of all curled up front on top, okay? So with that in mind, then I would actually cut to the roots. Look at how wonderful this is. This is all fibrous roots, and fibrous roots will come out of all these these roots come out of here. So there will be very little space wasted inside the bonsai pot to take up space. As you know, none of the parts of the tree is alive for more than 6 years. So these are all dead wood, but the side will come out with the roots. So the dead wood does not take up any space. So that makes the tree very healthy in the long run. You can see all these lumps are gone, instead of taking up space in the pot. Now let's look at the shape of this tree. I think this is definitely the top. And so you can see this tree would come out like this, right? A canopy that shapes the outline of the tree. And I think this one, this is tall. This is maybe a little bit too tall. These are about right, can be shortened a little bit. And this one, I think we should probably start here. So with that in mind, then I'll do some cutting. And probably a logical place is probably here. This is probably still too tall. So I'll probably cut it here so like this one come out. This is nice, but can be shortened. There's no need to be up there. And these two are barb branch. They're at the same location. So if I cut off this one, it will come out this way. It doesn't look like a barb branch. I don't know. I think I'll probably cut it off here. I cut it off here for now. I may just cut it off below here, but you can always cut more off. Then this one, the two, I think I like to introduce a little bit more interest by coming out a little bit lower. And again, I think this wants to be the apex. So I want to cut off this to make it a little bit lower to now compete with the same height. So this is basically the tree, and we will wait 3 months to see what it looks like. And I will probably make the front this way, so you can see this tree will be growing up like this, coming out. This branch is too tall. This branch will fill out this area. I think this is too tall because you can see if it comes out of here, it will go out more this way. So that's what I will cut off. Okay, that's done for now. You can see the leaves are starting to emerge. Again, it's trying to make it not so round, but it will heal over. You don't even see the cut eventually. That's it. So I'll put it back in the pot and wait for 3 months to see what happens and to do the next cutting. And a lot of these, you can start to begin to direct where the tree grows. Like this one, you don't want this to interfere too close with this bud. So you can pull it off now, and this will come out more this way. And you don't need this one to compete with this, so you peel that off. And you probably want this tree to grow this way, so you peel these off. So you can just gradually work on it, and as it grows to, again, shape it with the support of nature, okay? So that the tree will be natural. Okay, that's all for now from the 3 or the 5 maple group, which I would do a regular update every 3 to 6 months to let you keep track the progress.